There is a lot going on in mindfulness these days, including festivals. You heard me right, festivals. Hi everyone, welcome to Mindfulness Voyage. My name is Ted Meissner. Glad you could be here. And today we're going to be bringing back our guest from a previous episode, Christoph Speissens, to talk about a festival about mindfulness. And before we go any further with that, if you would, please be sure to like and subscribe if you're getting something out of these conversations, because when you do that, it helps other people to find it. Thanks, and let's start our conversation for today. Our guest today, returning to the podcast, is our friend Christoph Speissens. Christoph, good to see you. Thank you so much for being here, because I know you are very busy right now.
It's a delight to be able to rejoin the conversation, Ted, and thank you for having me again. Thank you.
Thanks. So, we're talking about the Manchester Mindfulness Festival, and my understanding is this is the fourth year, correct?
It is. This is the fourth edition. Yeah.
Wonderful. So, how did this get started in the first place? Maybe you could tell us that story.
So the truth here, Ted, is twofold. I had just completed my first year of the 4 years Masters in Mindfulness at Bangor University, and we were still very much coming out of the pandemic at the time. And I had submitted my final essay of the term, and metaphorically, I fell a little bit off a cliff, so to speak. And I was like, well, what do I do now with with all this free time? Because work was still picking up. And I had a very dear friend who organizes the holistic yoga festivals in Manchester and across the UK. And I thought, do we have a mindfulness festival? Does this exist? And so I Googled it, and it didn't exist. And I thought, maybe I can do something with this. And so I found a venue, and it started out very small. And it was, a humble success, I suppose. And then, that was the first edition, and now we are in our fourth year. So that's really how it began.
Congratulations on that. And it's so wonderful to see that the curiosity about, do we have something like that for our field? And you started that. Now, the theme this year is unexpected approaches. And I know it might take a little bit of head scratching on this, but I'm wondering why you wanted to focus on that. Why is that something that is so timely for what's going on right now?
So I think we need to sort of briefly rewind, because we always have a theme, because it helps us to focus. And it helps the speakers to focus. And so as we came out of the lockdown, the first theme emerged quite naturally. It was just this sheer joy of coming back together in person as a community of mindfulness practitioners. And then the second year, we focused on going beyond our personal practice, and we focused on sort of the social application of mindfulness, which then naturally sort of led us to the third edition, which was all about keeping mindfulness relevant. So how do we make sure that it reaches those communities, all the various contexts and applications where mindfulness may not be so so much of an everyday thing and or so accessible. So how do we make that happen? And this year's theme, unexpected approaches, with that I sort of want to build on the previous themes and see, with a sense of curiosity, where else can we introduce mindfulness? And so it also gives the speakers this wonderful open or blank canvas, if you wish, to bring their new research and the new contexts and the new applications to the festival and share something new and interesting with the audience. So I hope that gives you sort of an overview of the themes and how they tend to evolve. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. And it's interesting to see how this has grown from, as you said, humble beginnings into something that can build from 1 year on to the next, and just to see that growth, particularly on things around accessibility the previous year. I wonder if you could say just a little bit about that, because as you and I have spoken before,
Mm,
having mindfulness available to underserved communities and
yeah.
having it reach groups that otherwise may not be part of what mindfulness has been over the
Mm.
past 40 years, and how that might change. I wonder if you might say a little bit about that.
I think it's about accountability and responsibility. And as an organizer, so my husband and I, we we do our best in terms of making sure that our program includes, speakers of color, for example, um, and that they're all always very much a part of the conversation. Um, but not, but also making sure that we make sure that the festival, the day itself, is accessible for people with various needs. And very often, as we all know, those needs fly under the radar of our awareness. So it's very easy to think, oh, I've got all the ducks in a row. This is looking good. This is all set up to be a good day. But actually, it may not be very comfortable for a certain amount of your guests. And so we do the work. I'd like to think we do the work, and we liaise with experts in the field who sort of point out or bring awareness to our areas where we fall short. We often sit down and try to explore our blind spots. I mean, even being a part of or a member of a minority community, it's interesting. It never ceases to amaze me how many biases I hold myself and how many blind spots I have. So I try to bring that awareness to the event management aspect of the Manchester Mindfulness Festival. Um, yeah, and it's also sort of represented by some of our partner organizations. So we choose. Oh, we're very. How can I word this in the way that I wanted to come across? It's important to work with partners who support your vision, and that should be really a two-way street. And so we have organizations like IAMBA and BAMBA, the Mindfulness Network, the Mindfulness Initiative, wonderful organizations who are really keen to make mindfulness more accessible to a much wider, more diverse population for all the right reasons and in all the quote unquote right ways. So that feels very natural and that feels very good. Yeah. Sorry, that was probably a long-winded answer, Ted, but that's where it took me.
I think that's exactly the time that it needed, because the this intersectionality of who people are and so many
Mm,
aspects of ourselves and what we're interested in, how we identify who and how we are, these are very complex considerations. And to build them into the fabric of the festival is really exciting to see, and especially the collaborative partnerships that you developed on this. And
And
I'm also curious. Yeah, go
sorry,
ahead.
Ted, I'm wondering if I might add something to it because I'm noticing very much that this is there. So mindfulness historically is very white, and but look who's organizing this: two white male, you know, people, and it's like we have to do what we can to, and it's okay for us to step up and deliver this, but it's so much more than this, and how can we inspire other people to do similar events? Also, just one thing, if I may, that I want to add is, for example, we try to keep the price of the tickets very quote unquote reasonable, but again, what's reasonable to me may be way out of reach for other people. So we offer concessions, and if people want to come, then those are definitely an option. So yeah, I just wanted to add that as well.
Yeah, it's an important aspect of
Mm,
accessibility is your sense of safety and welcome when you arrive at something, but even just being able to arrive is
yes.
often in that. Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
you are actually spot on about how it's not just okay, it is necessary for people in the global minority, folks who look like you and I, to to really step forward and
Mm.
making this not about people who just look like us, but others as well. So, with that, I'd like to hear from you about some of the speakers that you have that you're excited about, or some of the talks that you're looking forward to this year.
That's potentially a trick question, right? Because you know I'm going to say I'm excited about all the speakers and all the talks, which is obviously true. Not that I get to attend all of them because on the day I'm sort of all over the place, as we say. But look, deep appreciation, gratitude for all the speakers, and not just this edition, but past and previous. Sorry, future editions as well, because these people really contribute their expertise and their experience wholeheartedly. And you really sense this on the day. This is not, although I'd like to believe that we together we provide great quality for our audience. It's not an academic conference. It really is sort of curated with the general public in mind. And so these experts really sort of, it's wonderful how they weigh, and very inspirational how they find ways to communicate often academic research-based content in ways that make it very appealing, very interesting, very accessible. And for that I'm very, very grateful. So that's what excites me the most, is this: what will they come up with this time? What will evolve in the moment? A large part of the day is Q&A sort of based. So many of the talks include question and answers opportunity between the expert or the speaker and the audience. And that just sort of leads itself. And it always, there's always a sense of flow about these things. And it's not always necessarily easy on the speaker, because this I have seen is they get challenged from time to time by members of the audience, but of course in a friendly and meaningful way. But that's where the real sort of communicating of the content happens in a very tangible and practical way. Like, I love what you're speaking to. It makes great sense, but where I work, that's very difficult to implement. Can you please give me more tips? Can you help me make this happen? And those moments is where the mindfulness for me really blossoms.
Yeah. So, looking back on the past
Mm.
several years, what have you enjoyed most about holding this festival and, as much as you're organizing it, getting to participate and attend this as well? What are some highlights for you about this?
There's many personal highlights, too many to go into. So let me go straight to what I think is most important, and that's outcomes. I can be scrolling through LinkedIn, for example, and then notice something about a project that two people who have met at our festival have embarked upon as a result of meeting each other at the festival and discussing an idea and then taking it further, taking it into a school, an art class, and a community project, whatever. And those moments are when I can sit back and think, yeah, that's not necessarily why we're doing it for, but it certainly helps. And that those moments really fill me with tremendous joy, because mindfulness was always meant to be a social thing. And so to see our festival contributing in its very small way to that, and throwing our little stone in the mindfulness pond, so to speak, and seeing the ripples, that's beautiful.
Wonderful.
Mm.
So, any parting words or things you'd like to share before we let you get on with the rest of your day, maybe for people who are considering coming to the festival or just curious about it?
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to have this conversation with you, Ted, and for all the work that you do for the mindfulness community in helping us to spread our work further. It's really much appreciated. I think with regards to the Manchester Mindfulness Festival Edition 4, is that it's lovely to see it growing. This year we also, it's always on a Saturday. This year we also, on the Friday, we have a Bamba approved retreat. So that's something that we've added. And on the Saturday, one of the sessions that I sort of do want to highlight is the Innovations in Mindfulness Awards by the Mindfulness Initiative, which is really a privilege and an honor for us to be able to host these at our festival. And it's a great way of recognizing, newer initiatives in the world of mindfulness that are really making waves. And so to have that, not only as an initiative, but to have that at our festival is really something to celebrate and to smile about for all of us within the mindfulness community. So that's something that I wanted to add in closing remarks, if you wish. Yeah.
Right. Well, our guest today, Christoph Speissens. Christoph, thank you for being here. And for those who are watching this, we'll have links to the festival where comments are found and links are found. Thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Ted. Thanks for everything. Bye now.
Thanks for watching, and Christoph, thanks for holding the Manchester Festival. I really, really hope that goes well for you, and know that it will, because so many people are already excited about it. And again, as a reminder, please do like and subscribe if you're getting something out of these conversations, because it helps others to find them. Remember, every moment you have a choice. Make it the best you can. I'll see you next time on Mindfulness Voyage.